A racist Karen sees that I'm black and assumes that I'm stealing the dog because black people don't own golden retrievers. Her reaction to what the cops had to say was priceless. Let me tell you what happened. Work was rough today, and all I wanted to do afterward was to sit on the couch and let the TV watch me while eating food not cooked by my own hands. The answer to that? Delivery. Food ordered, I let the dog into the yard to burn some energy, and sat camped outside with him while waiting for the delivery. DoorDash, Grubhub, Uber, and everyone other than Jehovah's Witnesses has trouble locating my address strictly relying on GPS, so it's nothing for me to post up and wait outside for when they are close. Flag them down and go back inside for a contactless drop-off. Pertinent details before shit hits the fan. My neighbor and I share a fence with a doggy door as our pups are super close, and you can bet each time that if my dog is outside, hers will follow for cross-yard playtime. This was the case today, and probably bad judgment on my part, to think that I would be able to break up the fun quickly. Both dogs were in the neighbor's yard at the time the notification came through that the driver was pulling up, and I had to call out a few times to get my dog's attention. Neighbor thankfully whistled for her dog, and I had to put on the voice for mine to acknowledge I existed, and then took off running for my door, while waving to the driver, who by this point was getting out of the car. Pup and I have a game called Runaway, where I will take off yelling runaway, and literally, he will chase after me like some human-sized fetch stick. I used this to my advantage until he realized I was putting him inside, but managed to get him through the storm door and close the screen before he could run out. Then realized that I'd left the gate locked like an idiot with the driver standing right outside by this point. I didn't have a mask on at this point and neither did she, so I yelled from the porch that she could leave the food by the mailbox, and that is where the fun started. Is that your dog? My bullshit meter didn't go off. I thought she was asking a question with an obvious answer because duh, she was a dog person, so I engaged with dog owner gushiness. Yes, blah blah blah. His name is XYZ. Wanna say hi? I'll be nice because you brought my food. But she just stood there awkwardly for a moment, put the food down and quickly jumped back into her car. In my mind I was like, okay weird, but whatever. Snatched the food and went back inside. Went to wash my hands, and from the kitchen window, I can see the full street where she is still parked outside. Thinking, okay weird, again, but didn't dwell on it too much, figuring that she was looking at the route to her next location. I went about my business of preparing to destroy my meal. Few minutes later, the dog begins barking manically at the door. I take a glance at the cameras and realize she is still out front, parked directly in front of my mailbox. Okay? What's going on here? I go outside and try to get her attention, but she is on the phone and doesn't notice me. I walk up like I'm going to check the mail, and she does pull off. But towards the back of the neighborhood that only has one way in and one way out. Lots of people make that mistake, and so you'll quickly see cars turning back around, but she never came back. By this time, I think I'm losing my mind, so I go back in but still watching the street for the car to pass. It never does. I don't know, people are weird, so I just left it at that and went back to eat. About 10 minutes later, dog starts going ham at the door, so I check the cameras to see 2 police cars sitting outside my house. I continue to watch the cameras, realizing that, yup, the cops are getting out of the car and walking back and forth in front of mine and neighbors' yards. I go out to see if anything is wrong, and they introduce themselves before saying they were called because a stolen golden retriever was reported at my address and if there was a dog in the home. It clicked that driver had called the police and then explained my version of what happened. They were really respectful and apologetic, but asked if I could get Sir Pup. I went ahead and opened the door for the dog, who took off, ready to greet the new faces outside. His collar has tags matching the address with my name and phone number on it in case he was ever lost or stolen, which was proof enough for them, as it was obvious that they wanted to get this over as fast as possible. No hard feelings on either side. We were all walking away when driver's car slowly comes creeping from the back of the neighborhood. I yelled out to them that the lady was right there, and they positioned themselves in front of her car in a way she would have to stop and speak with them. I don't know if this lady was drunk or off her meds, but she rolled down the window and was literally sobbing hysterically that she saw me take the dog from the neighbor's yard, that animals get no justice, and the icing on the cake, my kind only owns pit bulls and Rottweilers. There was no way he was mine and needed to be protected. I honestly did not want to deal with that mess, so sorry guys. This isn't a tale of revenge. I went back inside and stayed the frick on my couch. My day was already shitty. Everyone left a few minutes after that, so I assume she got a warning. However, I did report the incident to the delivery service and was offered credits towards my next meal. I splurged that on a bakery, and now I'm currently fricking up a slice of carrot cake. Grateful it didn't end worse. There is nothing that pisses me off more than a racist Karen. Seriously, if you were going to steal a dog, why would you steal your neighbor's dog? Like they wouldn't notice you suddenly had a golden retriever that looked exactly like their golden retriever and seemed to recognize them? I'm sorry that the most stupid people also tend to be the most racist. And if you're going to call the police on someone for walking a stolen dog, at least have the decency to make up a better story than, "I saw them take the dog from the neighbor's yard." The police were very respectful and handled the situation well, but I can't help but wonder what would have happened if they had believed her story. Would they have arrested you? Luckily, everything turned out okay in the end, but it could have been much worse. A racist made fun of me for being Jewish, even though I wasn't. I played along. 20 years later I've won awards and scholarships and have been given a trip to Israel. Am I the jerk? I'm not Jewish, not even a little bit. If you ask me any questions about Judaism, I couldn't tell you. But still, everyone thinks I'm Jewish. It all started in high school, 11th grade. I had just moved from California to the South and it was a rough time. I was called every horrible name in the book because I talked different and got the shit beat out of me multiple times. Well, I slowly befriended some of the guys on the football team, and my closest friend was the center. We'll call him Greg. Now Greg is a super chill guy compared to everyone around him, but he's still very racist and very open about all his opinions. Well, one day I'm driving Greg and a few other football players home from school, and he makes a comment about synagogues. Without even thinking, I mentioned that I've been to one, and this is where it all started. This prompted one of the other guys to joke that I was a Jew, and trying to be chill, since these were the only friends I had, I went, "Haha, yep, I'm Jewish," and then that's when it all went downhill. Greg told everyone on the football team how his new friend from California was a Jew, and they all believed it since most of them thought there were only Jews in California anyways, and the football players spread that to the rest of the school. At this point, I still thought it was a joke and everyone was just jokingly calling me Jewish, so I just kept going with it. Then I became known as the Jewish kid and started to actually become popular, since everyone wanted to be friends with the different kid, and the fact my dad had money, a lot compared to the poor area I went to school, so I could afford to buy nice things and people tend to be attracted towards that. And so being Jewish almost became my identity. It became who I was. So whenever someone would ask my religion, I just automatically told them I was Jewish. Fast forwards to the end of high school, and the counselors are walking people through scholarship stuff, and my counselor calls me into his office and hand me a slip for a $5,000 Jewish American scholarship. Now as soon as I read Jewish American scholarship, I was going to walk out and throw it out, but he made me sit down and fill it out with him, and then took it from me to submit it. I felt horrible for even doing it, but somewhat relieved when I heard that they only gave it to people who were also ethnically Jewish, so I knew I wouldn't get it. I got it. I received a letter in the mail saying I was chosen as the winner of this $5,000 scholarship. I got accepted to Dartmouth due to the fact I worked my ass off in high school, and was the valedictorian, though my competition wasn't plentiful to say the least. But I never thought I would have been able to afford it. But this scholarship was huge in helping me towards that. I considered spilling everything then, declining the scholarship, telling everyone at school, telling almost every single form I filled out, saying I'm not actually Jewish. I decided to tell my dad and ask him for advice as he's always been a guy you can talk to about anything whatsoever. So I tell him everything. I tell him about the joke, then the lie, then everything, and now the scholarship, which I hadn't told any of my family about because 1, I never thought I'd get it, and 2, they'd question why a very not Jewish person is getting a Jewish American scholarship, and as soon as I told my father, he looked me dead in the eyes with the most serious, disappointed face, and then burst into tears laughing. The way he reacted, it must have been the funniest thing he'd ever heard in his life. He told me he had gotten a letter in the mail asking if I was ethnically Jewish for a scholarship I had entered, and being the person he is, he just say the chance for college money and went, "Yep, Jewish," and that was apparently all they need. So my dad convinced me to keep the money and go to my dream college, and I did. As soon as I arrived at university, I was met with some people from the group that gave me this scholarship, some Jewish American organization funded by wealthy Israelis, and they told me, enlisted me into all these Jewish clubs, and they got me set up in a synagogue, and everyone there. I'd later learn 2 of the people there would be my professors, who were very Jewish. And finally they told me they'd set me up with the whole birthright thing, where they fly American Jews out to Israel. I was so shocked. I was at my dream school. Plus I was being hit with all of this. It was too much. I thought about coming clean a lot of times, but I feel like all the people around me would suddenly feel betrayed and leave me. I became good friends with a lot of people in these Jewish clubs. I bonded with my teachers a lot better since they believed I was Jewish. I met the most beautiful Jewish girl, who I met through her mother, when she came up to me in a cafe, Asked if I was Jewish. Since I was with the local rabbi, I said yes, and she told me that I'd love her daughter. We went on a date and instantly hit it off, and I got a free trip to Israel. All the while, I was dealing with severe depression since I felt horrible every second of every day. In addition to the already enormous amounts of stress university puts on you, I came so close, so many times to just throw myself off a bridge or tall building, but I could never bring myself to do it. I managed to get all the way through 11 years of college to get my doctorate, got a job at a history museum back on the West Coast, married that Jewish girl, had a Jewish wedding with her entire family, and my two parents. My dad had spilled the beans to my mom about 2 days after I told him. She also found it equally as funny. We've had 3 little Jewish babies. The museum put me in charge of organizing and creating a huge Holocaust Jewish American history exhibit, even though that's not my specific field even in the slightest. And in a few months, when the current curator retires at the age of 96, I will hopefully be taking his place. He's been training me for the job. I've worked there the longest, and I've made sure that I'm damn good at my job. My life has turned out great, but deep down, it will always haunt me that my entire life is built on a lie. My kids' lives, my life, my wife's life, all came from a joke in a car 20 years ago. I was never going to tell a soul this, but today my oldest son, he's 9, told me that he doesn't think he believes in God, and I told him I agreed. It was the first time in 20 years that I told the truth about my religion, and didn't lie. My son wants to tell his mom that he doesn't want to continue being Jewish, and I might use this as my way of getting out as well. I told him we'd tell her tomorrow at dinner, and he seems almost as excited as I am, but equally as nervous. Wish us luck, I guess. I still am unsure if I should tell her the whole truth, or if I should just leave it with that I no longer want to be Jewish. That is a lot to process. I'm sure that it will take you some time to work through all of this, but it sounds like you're on the right track so far. I can't say for sure how your wife will react when you tell her the whole story. You could be totally wrong about her not wanting to convert, and she may be thrilled that you've finally come clean about your religion. On the other hand, she might freak out because now she has to deal with all of these big changes in her life. That is conversion, raising Jewish children. You'll have to wait and see how she reacts. Parents feel entitled to choose who I can date or not. Me and my boyfriend have been together for 6 months now, but before that, we were friends for a long while. He was at an exchange program at my university, and we just hit it off. He's basically my best friend. I can talk to him about anything, and I feel incredibly safe and protected by him. My parents are Muslims, mom is Asian, and dad is Arab. The thing is, my boyfriend's a recent convert. He converted before we met actually, so it was entirely his decision. So chances of my parents being against him is 150% plus. Just the other day my aunt asked me if I was seeing anyone. I didn't tell her that I was dating or anything of the sort, just that I had a friend I liked. She asked for a picture. I shared it with her. I said I liked him and he likes me, but he's a convert and younger than me. She asked which religion is he from. I said that his parents are Buddhist. I never mentioned his race to her either. She said he was cute, but she's against it because of the age difference. I'm supposed to be the younger one in the relationship. A few days later, while going on a hellish long drive with my mom, she started bring up topics about women who marry recent converts being cursed, that their children will be born handicapped, their husbands will cheat on them eventually, and that the guys are only converting because of the girl, not for themselves. So the guys will revert back to whatever their originally religion was. She kept asking to see my phone and see if I was going out with anyone, kept accusing me of keeping secrets from her. She proceeded to tell me that my dad dreamt of me, being in a bathtub with a black Nigerian man with horns, and having my back turns on my parents in the dream. The year before, my dad dreamt I was naked in a hot tub with some ugly fat guy. So now my dad is crying because he thinks that the devil has won and made me stray from the path. I was looking for something on my mom's phone, a video. I scrolled down and there it was, my boyfriend's pic, in her phone, sent by my aunt. I felt betrayed, but I kept quiet. I wanted to see where this was going. Today my mom told me that she dreamt of a Chinese man, wearing all red, bowing before her and bobbing his head. This is so racist I don't even know what to say anymore. She asked me again, much more sternly this time, am I seeing anyone? I said I liked someone. She asked if he had slanted eyes, racist Asian mom language. Is he Chinese? I said yes. How long have you known him? 2 years. You've been keeping quiet. I told you that I need to screen every single one of your boyfriends. I don't like this guy. He's a convert, has slanted eyes, and is a lot younger than you. It will never work out. I don't approve of him. No wonder your father has been crying. He was right. She wants me to be with someone of similar age, or he needs to be older than me, comes from a line of Muslims, is an original Muslim, and is religious. And no Buddhist Chinese, because they hate Muslims, and will do whatever it takes to stray Muslims from the right path. My heart just broke. I don't know, deep down I wanted them to be okay with this. I feel betrayed by my aunt. I feel like I'm being trapped by my parents. It's gotten to the point where I might just wait till everyone dies before I start to date openly. I love being with him, but I think he deserves better. I'm fine with being single. I'll be sad, sure, but at least I won't make my parents cry over it. I hate making them sad or disappointing them. I can't move out because in Islam, it is illegal for a woman to live on her own. I also can't just elope or marry my boyfriend if we choose to do so because I need blessings from my parents in order to get married. I'm sorry, my mind is a mess right now. I really don't know how to deal with this situation. This is mainly why I never introduced them to my other boyfriends, because I guess deep down, I knew they'd never accept who I choose. So this is pretty disheartening. I'll probably never look for a relationship ever again if this is how the outcome will always be. It's put me off completely. I care about them a lot and I don't want to make them sad. But on the other hand, if I do marry someone they approve of, I'm gonna be honest, it'd probably be just for them. I'd probably silently resent my future husband for this, and it's not fair. I'll be sad if I marry someone they approve. I can't choose who I like. They'll be sad if I marry someone they don't approve. Feels like the best way is to just not get married, TBH. You know, I think you should go ahead and date this guy. I know that it's not ideal and that it will cause some problems, but I really don't think that you should give up on this relationship because of your parents. You've been dating for a while now, so you must be pretty happy with him. You're an adult now, and I think that it's time to start making your own decisions. Marriage is a huge deal, and you will be spending the rest of your life with the person you marry, so it must be your choice. I understand that you would like your parents' blessing, so you must not give up and keep telling them how much you love this person and how well suited you are together. I hope things work out perfectly for you. A racist Karen yells at me for speaking Spanish in a public coffee shop. Here's how it all went down. I'm a Midwestern white guy of Scottish descent. If I get too much sun, I'll explode in plaid flames. I'm so white. My wife and kids are not. My wife and kids are Mexican, and my presence makes family barbecues interesting, and I have been known to harness the power of my whiteness when police are called because a birthday party for an 8-year-old niece-nephew gets out of hand. Now that we have that out of the way, one of my Mexican sons married a Guatemalan woman. Needless to say, they speak a lot of Spanish. Occasionally I find myself out with my DIL, and as a South American woman, she absolutely cannot function without a high enough coffee-to-blood ratio. So we are sitting in a certain mermaid-themed coffee shop in a mall, having a conversation, gasp, in Espanol. Have you ever wondered how you know if the person that says, "This is America and we speak English here," is a racist prick, or just a lazy self-entitled prick? It's moments like this, when the racist prick sees two people having a private conversation in Spanish and walks by the white guy to harass the pregnant Latin woman. Now anybody who has ever met a Latina knows that, 1. You piss them off at your own risk. This is a good way to find out if a high-heeled shoe can be absorbed rectally. I will neither confirm nor deny that I already know the answer to this question. 2. When you piss off a Latina, you will get no help from others. They know better. They also don't want to get any of you on them when she starts ripping your vital organs out of your own ass. So this racist sea hag hitches up her Louboutins, clutches her Michael Kors bag, struts past me, bends right down in my DIL's face, and screams at the top of her lungs, "Speak English or go back where you came from! You naughty! People are destroying this country!" My DIL stands up, and without a word, slaps the Gucci sunglasses right off of her face, and sits back down. Sea Hag's head spins around. She takes the time to look around, and lays down on the ground, screaming at the top of her lungs that this foreign immigrant terrorist has just assaulted her for no reason. Call the police! Call the army! She can't wait until everyone figures out that this election is a fraud, and Trump kicks all you naughty immigrants out. Sea Hag's husband comes running over and is just about to get in DIL's face when I stand up. Let's just say I absolutely dwarf this guy. I stand over 6 feet tall, have a beard down to my chest, and I pick heavy things up and put them down again in my spare time. As a result, I tip the scales north of 300 lbs, and each of my thighs is larger around than DIL's waist. He's maybe 5'6", and with $6 in change in each pocket, might weigh 125. I take one look at this guy, he goes whiter than he already was, and I say, think very hard. Any part of you that touches her, I'm going to break off and force feed to you. Now go away, and take that thing with you. As I point to Sea Hag, they slink off to sit in a booth on the other side of the coffee shop. Naturally, someone has called the police, who show up in short order. Sea Hag immediately launches into her speech about how she was just minding her own business, and, out of nowhere, this crazed Islamic terrorist attacked her and started beating the hell out of her, and that red-bearded race traitor beat the hell out of her husband and laughed at him. She thinks his nose might be broken. They both need to be in jail. Now! The second cop comes over to our table, and DIL turns on the waterworks. The crazy woman started screaming at me. I was just defending myself. She places a hand on her stomach, and my baby. I summon my powers of whiteness, and tell the officer, I'm certain this place has cameras. There are at least a dozen witnesses to that woman's screaming tirade, and I assure you that my DIL will not be answering any more of your questions without her attorney present. The cops take a few minutes to talk to a couple of other people, look at the security footage, and come back to tell us that, while DIL probably shouldn't have slapped Seahag, it's pretty clear that it was in self-defense, and, while they'll be filling out a report, they won't be arresting anyone. Naughty, naughty, gasp. It's a good thing you were there. You should be proud of your daughter. I'm sure she was scared, but if it had been me, I would have been terrified. This woman must be some kind of psycho. It sounds like she just goes around looking for trouble to start with anyone who is different from her. What an awful person. I hope the police arrested that lady and threw her in jail for a long time.